What word can you make shorter by adding 2 letters? Short. What's going on, YouTube? We're currently outside of the plane of existence, inside of Cold Harbor, inside the Hollow City, to go over our first of 2 golden vendors. Now, unfortunately, we continue with the Falmore theme, and these guys are kind of blind, so unfortunately, they don't put a lot of effort into their furnishings. You know, for example, what is this? This grindstone doesn't even feel like it's been grinded up that well. And because of that, a lot of this stuff is probably not going to sell well in the future. I will say that I do like this tent, and I do think that this tent's actually pretty cool if you were trying to make like an outdoor tent theme type area. This could be fine to do so. Low price point to do it, but most of these furnishings are not going to really tickle the pickle. And before we jump into our second golden vendor here, it's a quick shout out. If you're not subscribed, please subscribe. But more importantly, if you're not currently following on Twitch, we are so close. We are less than 100 followers away on the Twitch. Please head to the description below and check it out because we are so close. And we start off with the Defiled Dragon set, which, if we're going to talk about sets, comes from the Lair of Marsalok. And I actually think a lot of people use this set incorrectly. A lot of people try to use this for PvE tanking content. I think if you're really going to try to use this, because it gives you 2 bars of stamina, 2 bars of maximum health, and then when you take damage from melee attack, you get Corrupting Aura that applies Minor Breach to all enemies within 8 meters of you, reducing their physical and spell resistance. I think this is more of like a ball group PvP set, if I'm being honest. I think a lot of people try to use this as a tank set. That being said, it's obviously not going to be something that's really S tier or anything above and beyond what other sets you could do. It comes from Lair of Marsalok, which is very annoying to farm. I don't necessarily think this set's good by any means, but I do think that people could probably use it a bit more uniquely than what they're using it for now. Next we have Dragon Guard Elite, which actually comes from Southern Elsewhere. Now, this set originally was talked about pretty harshly as a kind of PvE set because it requires you to stand in front or the sides of a boss. It doesn't give you as much value as some of the other PvE sets, but where I think that this thing I was kind of expecting a little bit more value from was when it came out with the Infinite Archive. I thought more people might be using sets like this because you're not doing the traditional tanking structure. You're not necessarily trying to flank all your enemies because that can be sometimes very tricky in Infinite Archive. It really still hasn't grown to seen a lot more utilization. I think people are experimenting with it, but it's definitely not worth buying it in this capacity. You could just buy it from Southern Elsewhere because think about how many dragons are killed. All of those jewelry pieces are also being collected from those dragon corpses, so you don't need to buy from the golden vendor if you want to experiment with it, but it's something to consider. Next up, we have Moongrave Fanes, Drozikar's Necklace. For every bleed effect you have on an enemy, you increase your weapon and spell damage by 103 against them. And this is one of those sets that's like exceptionally weird because not only do you have a 2, 3, 4, and 5 that also gives you a written 5, which is your 103. So you've got penetration, which is good, crit chance, which is fine, stam recovery, which is okay, and then 129 weapon and spell damage. You would think that this would probably be geared towards PvP, but there's really not that many bleeds that you can do against players. I mean, realistically, you can hope to maybe have 4 on them at once. That's only going to give you 412 weapon and spell damage, which isn't really commendable, considering you can just get that from doing other types of things without having to proc bleed damage. Mind you, bleed damage is also cleansable, and they can get rid of this effect. But its penetration, crit chance, stamina, and weapon and spell damage could probably be used together, but it's very annoying to farm. Not a lot of people use it, and bleed damage is just such a finicky thing to try to put on people, especially since the axis changes. So, to me, not a great set to try to use, but it's definitely a more PvP-focused set. People did try this in PvE, and it just didn't work. Next, we have a set from Eastmarch, which also suffers from the dramatic, unfortunate power creep. Now, power creep is basically the concept that as new sets come out, old ones generally become weaker because the game wants to incentivize you to get new things. If we could all just use non-DLC sets, we could realistically have been wearing the same sets for a decade now. Let that sink in. So 10 years this set has been out. That's 10 years that other sets have had to been released to be better than it. Because you might look at it and think, recovery's good, healing taken, maximum health, health recovery, reduce the cost of your ultimate. That seems like it'd be pretty decent. I could build that into things. The problem is it's just outclassed by other sets, other bonuses, and it just is not going to see a whole lot of play. If you do, it's probably going to be a PvP build, but even if you are building some PvP, there's better alternatives. Next one, comment below if you think you can guess where this drops from. Not all of these are created equal. Some of these heads can be really hard to know where they drop from. Sometimes I have to Google them. Where does Marsalok drop from? I mean, there's a dungeon called the Lair of Marsalok, so you might think that that's it, but you never know. This is actually a really good monster set on a dungeon that a lot of people hate to farm. And because of that, you may consider purchasing this because I absolutely love this monster set. In fact, you can see that I'm wearing it right now. You can see I'm wearing it. That's how much faith I have in this. So when you deal damage with a heavy attack, you spew a cone of corruption, dealing 5780 disease damage to enemies over 4 seconds. This damage is increased by 10% for each negative effect they have on an enemy, up to a maximum of 300%. Why this is so incredible is this basically almost acts as an execute. The more amount of negative things that they have on them, the more damage that you're going to do. It could be a great way to burst damage down on enemies and absolutely obliterate them. This is a great monster set. I highly encourage you guys to get this. That could be farming Lair of Marsalok. It could be purchasing it, but you definitely want to own this monster set. Fun fact, I asked last week, I said, what set are you guys most excited to see in the Golden Vendor next, as we had a really good set last week? And somebody responded with Thurvicon, and I was very confused because I think that this set is really not that good. So I was surprised to see that. It comes from Fang Lair, which granted is an annoying dungeon to farm, but this really doesn't see a whole lot of utilization anymore. Let's break down what it is, and to the one person that requested this, you'll be happy. Basically, when you take damage, you grow a pool of desecrated bile, which just really sounds disgusting. Enemies in that bile take 333 disease damage every 1 second, but more importantly are affected by minor maim and the disease status for 4 seconds, reducing their damage done by 5% and healing received and health recovery by 6%. This effect can occur every 16 seconds and it scales off your maximum health. So if I had more health, this would do more damage. But obviously the disease status and minor maim, all of those pieces would actually be 100% the same. So when you look at a set like this, you think PvP? You know, maybe applying minor maim, but minor maim you can apply in a lot of different ways, and healing received and health recovery is not necessarily as helpful as you might think, because that doesn't, it doesn't include healing themselves. And so when you're thinking about this from a PvP perspective, it's really not going to do a whole lot because health recovery is already garbage in PvP anyway. They're probably healing themselves. And even if they're getting healing from other people, 5%, what's 5% of 10,000? If I'm healing you for 10,000 health, you think 5% is going to be the make or break? Probably not. It could build over a period of time, but this lasts for 4 seconds. So you have 4 seconds of that benefit. So then you think, what about from a PvE perspective? And then you're like, well, reducing the damage done from a boss can potentially help save you through some one-hit mechanics or help lower the need to do vast amounts of DPS to kill things by lowering the amount of damage that's being done by mobs or whatever. But even that's pretty niche because most groups are not focused on keeping you alive. They're only focused on killing things, with some exceptions, obviously. There's so many trials and dungeons these days that there will be exceptions. But even if you are in one of those exceptions where you're trying to get damage reduction or you need to boost your team's defenses, for lack of a better way to phrase it, you're trying to beef up your defenses, you're probably not going to use the Thurvicon set to do it. I am glad that one of you guys is very happy based on the comments last week, but I generally think that if you really want something this week, go for Marsalok. It'll save you a long dungeon. You can probably farm 100,000 gold faster you can farm Lair of Marsalok. And it's an absolutely amazing PvP set. Highly recommend it. You can see that I'm wearing it right now, and I absolutely love it. But everyone, thank you guys so much again for watching. You guys are always fantastic. No clue why my character has decided to start looking off the screen here. He's looking through into the Northern High Rock Gate. I've never seen him stand like that. It's not looking the way that he's facing. But anyway, more importantly, we're still doing our 3 giveaway drawings. First thing, just be subscribed on the YouTube. the majority of you lovely jubblies are subscribed. I have a really good subscribe percentage. I think it's around 60%, which is fantastic. So thank you. If you have a Twitch, though, please head to the description below and just follow on Twitch. We are so close to 1,000 followers, and both of those will be entered. I'll have the Twitch followers and YouTube subs entered into that drawing. Second thing is, just leave a comments below. Tell me, what are you looking for? Is Mr. Thurvacoon here? Are you happy? You got your wish 1 week after you wished for it. I'm not going to put it in the title, be like, the most requested set is finally here for this guy. But I'm hoping he's happy. So leave a comment in the comments below. Say anything. Just have a great weekend. Tell me how you're feeling. Tell me something you're excited for. And then the third thing is a random gift card code will be flashed upon the screen. Spoiler, because you're here, I will tell you it will be in the video tomorrow, which will be focused on the calendar rewards as well as just a general guide for June, because we'll have our calendar rewards released. We have our daily login rewards, which are going to be fantastic. We have 100,000 gold coming, so that's going to be absolutely amazing. I'm very excited about those two rewards. And last thing I just wanted to discuss with you guys, so I don't have to put it in the post outro. We've been flipping items on stream. I've been trying not to grind any gold off stream or use it buying a bunch of dumb stuff on this character. We are so close to 1 million gold, which if you've seen the stream VODs, you'll see that they're not very long. We've been doing a really good job flipping. So if you want to, check out those videos. And yeah, this is what we're back up to. So thank you guys so much again. Have an amazing weekend, and I'll catch you guys tomorrow. Bye, guys.
You better remember to like and subscribe to Jakeclips. Or you should. I might have to pluck your eyes if you don't. Or, better yet, I'll skip rope with your entrails. Do it now. Subscribe. Ta-ta. Off with you.